Good evening. Thank you all for coming. My name is John West. I'm the Chief Financial Officer at Columbia. Jay Porter, our General Manager, couldn't be here tonight. He had some medical procedures done about a month ago, so he's been recovering. Yesterday was a long day for him, so he didn't feel up to making it down tonight. So I'm in his place. So welcome you all. Welcome to coming to the second of our candidate forums. We had one last night in Wicklow, and it went pretty well, I think. So we're going to go with the second one tonight. Patrick Gatterman is going to be the moderator for our session tonight, and Linda Moen is going to assist, and Jerry Ruderslow is going to be timekeeper. So let Patrick take over then.
Well, thank you, John. So, first what I want to address is where the bathroom is. So it is, if anyone didn't see it, if you walk out that entry door, it's immediately to your right. So with that, before we start, I would like to start with Pledge of Allegiance, so we can all stand. Face the flag to the front.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. So, like John said, my name is Patrick. I'll be moderating tonight. The format we're going with is actually some questions that we already have prepared, and then we'll have questions from the audience to be allowed. So everyone has a couple pieces of information in front of them. One of them is a small index card. This is what, if you have an audience question, please write it on this, raise your hand, and then we'll have someone from the staff pick them up, and we'll read them then during that part of it. The other thing you have in front of you is the How to Use Smart Hub. So of course it's how you can, in front will tell you how to pay your bill, has a lot of great information in there, but also in the inside says how to e-vote. So of course, it's important if you want to, look into that. Any questions, once again, staff can help you with that. The last thing you'll have actually is which is our electing board director, the candidates, in addition to a note section on there. So it just allows you, as you're kind of going through, to take notes as other speakers are addressing them. So with that, you guys have any questions or any questions from the board or floor before we start? Great. So the first part we're going to go with, like we said, is the question that we have prepared. Everyone is allowed 1 minute to answer them. Mr. Ruderslow is our timekeeper. So with that, we'll begin. So first will be an introduction of candidates. Start with District 2. Working from the far end, Mr. Adam Jones. Mr. Ethan Olson. And Mr. Patrick Connolly. District 2. Patrick Connolly is the incumbent. Both Mr. Olson and Mr. Jones are the challengers. Going to District 3, Ms. Marge Colby. And Mr. Aaron Hernke. Ms. Colby being the incumbent, Mr. Hernke being the challenger. And then, closest table to me, District 4, Mr. Larry Becker, Mr. John Church, and Mr. John Ebert. With that, Mr. Larry Becker is the incumbent, Mr. Church and Mr. Ebert are the challengers. All the questions will be drawn at random, which will match a random district, either 2, 3, or 4. That's while every question be prepared. So, and just like last night, we're going to begin with District 2. Oh, actually, we'll start with, it is District 4, so we're going to start from the left side of the table. So, my apologies. Yeah, you got it. Yeah, you got that a repeat of what you did last night. So this question, we'll start with Mr. Larry Becker. How do you see the future of technology fitting into the cooperative environment?
Technology is what drives our business. Technology drives our world. We're installing a new meter system because of technology. The old one became obsolete. The company was sold, no longer could give it. Technology can be troublesome for some members, but in the end, it is what drives our rates and will allow our membership opportunities to control and manage and put their use of electricity with their ability to pay. Technology should give us greater environmental controls, will allow us to use cleaner power, and it should allow us to communicate with our diverse membership in a better way. Technology is the cost driver for our cooperative, and so we look at a lot of different ways, whether doing it ourselves or with other joint cooperatives or other entities to control that cost.
Mr. Church?
As solar and wind turbines become more mainstream and cost competitive with our present energy sources, we need to see how best to implement them, keeping in mind reliability and cost. Smart meters, which are going to be introduced, are going to allow the members to be able to look at what time of the day they use the most power, and pick the time of the day when the power is the least expensive. We need to be careful in what technology we try to integrate into our co-op. Our financial size dictates that we monitor the successful introduction of new technologies elsewhere, and then emulate where it has been successfully installed and proven out. Thank you.
And it's Peter.
Well, in the world we live in today, it's obvious we have to keep continuing technology in our system. However, there are worries and disadvantages. One of them is buying technology today is usually obsolete tomorrow. The safety of our linemen in the field bothers me when we're closing switches from the office. Something we also have done with technology is lose our face-to-face contact with our members. And that kind of always reinforced that they were part of our community and our cooperative. Vandalism, terrorism always used to scare me. And there's cyber attacks and all that's being done today. So, but I don't want to sound like a negative Nelly. I do think it's a great source to communicate with our members. We just need to weigh out all the advantages and disadvantages and make sure it's safe, reliable, and control our losses.
So our next district will be District 2. And we'll begin with Mr. Jones. As a director, what do you feel is your greatest responsibility?
As a director, I think that being open with the members and listening to members and their concerns and bringing that back to the board and talking with the other directors and coming up with answers and bringing it back to the members to let them know that their voice is heard and we're actively trying to do things. I also feel that as a director that when other things are brought to the board, making decisions and agreeing with the rest of the board and backing that decision. And I just being open and just being to listen to people and learning new things. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Olson. As we look at a director, I think the things that we need to focus on are our members and our employees when it comes to the board, making sure that everyone is safe, everyone has power, and it's affordable. So being able to listen, as Adam said, on both sides, from the employee standpoint as well as the member standpoint, and realizing that all of the members are part owners in this co-op. So being able to listen, work together, and accomplish the goal of having safe, reliable power and affordable at the same time. So that's what I feel is a goal to be a good board member. Thank you. Mr. Thompson.
What these two gentlemen just stated is the truth. find there's three things that the board does. We hire a CEO, we hire a lawyer, and we hire an accountant. And those are our three prime duties as a board. With that, we develop policies, we get suggestions on bylaw changes, and those are important to operate the cooperative correctly. Being concerned about people is our prime objective, because that's what the co-op is, and the servicing we provide makes your life better, improves your community, improves your business. That's what we do.
Thank you. So our last district, this round will be District 3. And we will begin with Ms. Colby. The cooperative has an operating and capital budget of over $70 million. Please tell us about your budget or financial management background.
Well, as an owner, operator of Family Beef and Cash Crop Farm, I do the budgeting and the financial work, much larger, smaller scale than what we have here at the co-op. I analyze the cost versus the return, which gives us the value. And as an instructor in technical college, I proposed budgets for my department, and that was a little closer in line to the co-op, but not quite as much. And I had to live with the result of what that budget ended up being, but I proposed what we weighed, what we needed, and if it's something we're only going to use it once, and it's very costly, then it's not worth getting. So you only have a finite amount of money, and you have to prioritize, and that's what we did.
Mr.
Well, basically, that's my job. I'm a financial planner and investment advisor. So we set goals, create a plan, and then manage the process. I think one important part of a budget, though, is to make sure we know what's most important, where to put the money. So yeah, there's this big budget, all right, here we go, but what's most key right now? How are we using the money the best way for now and the future? So it's not saying, oh, here's $70 million, well, where should it go? We would need to get the best bang for the buck. And I think that's part of the board too, to just analyze where is it going.
Thank you. Okay, just to reemphasize and who people who came in maybe late, the index card is for any questions from the floor. Write your question on it, raise it up, and one of the employees or staff will come and pick it up. Okay, so the next district will be District 2. Mr. Olson this time. What do you see as the best way to meet present and future energy needs?
As we look at where we're at right now and where we will be, we need to continue to utilize the grant funding that's available, as well as constantly be on the look for new opportunities. As a board member, that would be my goal, is continually utilizing the opportunities that are around us as we move forward.
Mr. Conlon.
The supply of energy is changing. We have new supplies coming on all the time. And older supplies that are getting better. Wind and solar are getting cheaper. Natural gas has come down in price. So we're using all those. And of course, we still use a lot of coal. That the energy we purchase from Wisconsin Farm Light Alliance is a lot of it's produced with coal. I think one thing that we have to look at is nuclear a viable option? Can they produce a decent, smaller size nuclear generator that will give us clean, environmentally sound energy. That's something we need to take a serious look at and hopefully have Power and Light take a look at it.
Mr. Jones?
I feel that the co-op is doing a good job with this, with the new meters that they are installing, and we'll be able to see where the power is needed most. And by knowing that and how much power we're using on a daily basis in different areas is where power can be distributed, and maybe placing better renewable energy sources as far as wind or solar in certain areas that would need more power. I think that would be a good way to go, just for a renewable energy source, and we didn't, won't have to rely on coal, produce power as much as we do now. I just think that we should, think more, environmentally friendly way to do things. Thank you.
Our next district, District 3. Mr. Turnkey, you'll start first? Yeah, well, I think you start first, so either way. Any questions? So what do you think are the most important attributes required to be an ACEC director?
Well, I think board members should be able to ask questions, and I think all our members should be able to ask questions, get answers, figure out what's going on, and don't be afraid of change. The new meters, that's going to be a change. And don't be afraid of technology, but also be aware of it, that just because it's new doesn't necessarily mean it's better. You need to look at the alternatives as well, and just be open for new ideas and new way of doing things.
Thank you. Ms. Colby?
I think a good director needs to be, have an interest in learning as much as you can about the business and the opportunities that are available to us to meet the challenges, and need to be able to problem solve, have good problem solving strategies, and see what is and what can be and what should be, and make the determination in the most efficient and effective way to get there. And think outside the box and listen to our members and come up with good, viable, financially sound decisions.
Thank you. And yep, before we are last district in this round, and we will begin with Mr. Church. Which one of these do you consider the priority element of the electricity ACEC provides our members, and why?
I think it's,
Affordability, reliability, and environmentally clean.
I believe without question it has to be reliability, because our personal and professional lives revolve around the assumption that there will always be electricity when we need it. Without reliable electrical service, our lives get turned upside down. Thank you.
Mr. Hubert?
Well, I thought, thinking of what our members would think, I thought they would say affordability, person add on if it was reliable. But I was polling members, and it was almost unanimous that reliable, that's what they want. And, I guess I thought about that, it stems from the fact that, if you lose your electric, you lose everything. You lose your TV, you lose your computer, you lose all those things. And they're paying more for their, in a lot of cases, paying more for their TV and their phones and internet than they are for their facility charge for their electric.
the other folks at my table hit it on the head. The board looks at this in a lot of ways, and you have to do it with caveat. Reliability is the number one, but it is reliability with an affordable feature. And so, and then if you talk to different components of our membership, they'll throw both of those out and say, I only want to use it if it's environmentally clean. So it does depend on who you're talking to. But the majority of the membership wants it reliable, at an affordable cost. And I think as the board and the co-op looks at things, as we do our budget, as we do different things, that is the main thing we're looking at. But as we go into the future, people will have some choices, and they will be able to determine how affordable they want to make it. And do they want it at different times of the day to be more reliable than others? And so it is a mixed question.
Thank you. Okay, just once again, a friendly reminder, any questions that you want to ask any candidate, it's once again held at random. Please write them on this, and then raise them up and someone will come get them. Okay, our next district, District 2. And we will begin with Mr. Connolly. What ideas do you have to keep rates affordable as the cost of wholesale power increases?
One thing we need to look at is the renewables are coming down in cost. And they get to the point where they're very comparable or much more handsome than our other rates, other sources of power. So we need to keep that in mind. Another thing is to offer our members a chance to use electricity by demand rates, and they will use it to their advantage when it's least expensive for them. They can do that, and that will help us with our demand costs from Wisconsin Water, like from our wholesale, because that's a big portion of our costs. So that's those are two things. Keep an eye on renewables, and keep an eye on demand charge.
Thank you. Mr. Jones.
Well, I will piggyback on what Mr. Conley said. I think that renewables are key in the future of the power that we use. I think that's going to be the easiest way to expand power and create more power. We are, the co-op is investing in the Riverside power plant, and I think that's a great idea, and that with natural gas powered, and I think that the demand charges and things that if you educate the members on what they are and when they are getting charged that, they will be more conscious of when they're using the power, which will help keep the rates down so we don't have to buy it at peak time from the wholesalers.
Ms. Rolton.
If we look at power costs where they are today and where we're headed into the future, everywhere you look, there's high energy costs going up. But if we look at the LED lights, we look at conserving power every step of the way, that's to continue to keep the cost of your monthly bill the same while using less power as the rates continue to rise. ACEC is already on the right track to do that, so that's ways that we can continue to be a part of that as board members. If elected, we can continue to push that. If looking at other opportunities, we need to keep the ideas open and always be on the forefront of everything new and always looking for something new. There's new ideas every day, and capitalize on investments when there's opportunities to be made.
Our next district, District 4. steps would you take to help our members feel connected and encourage a greater sense of ownership in the cooperative?
Also, I thought about this, and I thought some of the steps that could be taken is to visit the people that you represent in your district, and listen to what their opinions are, especially if there's some type of decision or direction that you need as a board member to be made. Treat members with respect, treat them with respect just like you'd like to be treated with respect. And I keep thinking, what do we got to offer our members? Service. That's what we offer. So we need another thought I had was, and I know we've talked about this years ago, but try to maybe promote promote a more progressive annual meeting, and to build up our members coming to that. Yeah, the manager or CEO.
Thank you. Mr. Becker?
Well, this is an important question. It's something that the board deals with along with Mindy and her staff. How do we get people connected? We have 34,000 members in the co-op, and how do we reach out to all of them? The magazine works well for some. Emails for others who definitely just want electronic communication. But that's not enough. To be involved in the communities, to put our name to what people feel important in the communities is extremely important, and we've worked on doing that, but we can do better. Meetings like this that we used to have, and we've brought back, the board asked to bring this back, because we felt we needed more connection with our members. It's very important. Having other activities where people feel is maybe not the business of the cooperative, but ability to connect with the cooperative and understand it. But there's a lot of different medias. There's a lot of new technologies, and we need to continue to evolve and look at different ways to do this.
I believe that the next generation of smart meters will actually help the members be more connected, because now you're going to have an opportunity to think about how to control your costs, use your opportunities to be more active in your thought process of working with the co-op. I think we have to be more proactive in promoting the various programs that Adams Columbia offers, the scholarships, the discounts, the Youth Leadership Council and Operation Roundup, and others. I think that if these were highlighted in the Connection newsletter on a singular basis so that there was greater detail. I think also that accessibility to the members, and I think meetings like this where you have an opportunity to ask questions and we get a chance to respond will allow greater access and a greater connection to the co-op. Thank you.
Okay, so that does conclude our prepared questions we had. Now we will begin, the audience questions. The same, format as we follow, where they'll be allowed 1 minute to answer, and we will draw at random. So, the first district, district number 2. Okay, and we'll begin with Mr. Jones. During the summer of 2018, I had a 110-acre pivot on ACEC and a 110-acre pivot on Alliant Energy. I grew the same crop on each pivot, applied the same amount of water, and used the same horsepower motors. ACEC cost me over $2,000 more than Alliant Energy. As a board member, can you explain why irrigation, power, and subcharges are so high as compared to other power companies?
Well, that is a great question, and I am not currently on the board, and I would love to be on the board to answer that. But I totally agree. I think that needs to be addressed, and it is tough for farmers to compete with guy up the road that has a different power source, and I don't think that it's fair that you have trouble renting out a field to a certain producer because you have a certain electrical company. I think should be addressed, and I don't have the answer on how to do it, but I think it should be looked into and researched, and I don't think that all the energy used needs to be focused solely on the farmer. I think there's other places that energy is used and things could be directed, and you can save power by using, especially with the smart meters. I think that'll help a lot. So I would like to get to the bottom of that as well.
Mr. Olson?
I have some of the same questions myself. Looking at it, I think a lot has to do with education. Us as board members, if elected, that should be our job, is finding out that information for our members. As a sales agronomist, I rely on farmers to, that's my living, that's my career. So without them and their high capacity wells that they run, I wouldn't have a job. So I take it very personal. My family farms, and I look at that as an opportunity to understand that on a personal level, and then educate the growers that I work with on a day-to-day basis. So if elected, I'd be happy to find that information out.
Thank you. Mr. Conlon?
Adams Columbia just recently finished a rate study, and that looks at each different user, how those rates relate to what we have to, the inputs we have to provide that service. What we get charged from our wholesale provider goes through to the user, the one that puts that demand. And that's what our uneven demand charge versus investor-owned utilities. We have 940-some irrigation wells on our system, and none of our investor-owned utility neighbors have near that number. Their irrigation load is such a small part of what their total load is. They can put any rate they want on it. It doesn't affect them at all. It's important that we make sure that other people are not paying for a particular rate.
Thank you. Our next district, District 3, and staying consistent with alternating, Ms. Colby, you will go first this time. Should the ACEC board make a commitment to purchase power from renewable sources and to use its purchasing to persuade our supplier to increase its production of renewable energy?
We have a purchase power agreement with Alliant, and the state has requirements that each producer or everybody has to have a certain percentage of renewables, and that is why that Alliant has invested in their solar and their wind, and so we have an agreement with Alliant, that's who we purchase our power from, and in that agreement, we are only allowed to purchase within our footprint a certain percentage of power that is that's renewables, which would be in conflict with theirs. And we're kind of bound by that agreement. We went by the best we could.
Mr. Hervey?
I think environmentally sound ways to generate power is important for our next generation as well as ours. But I also think reliability is important as well. And as things get going forward on technology, renewables will become less expensive, and they might even become the mainstream in a few years. So I think it's important as a board to always pay attention to the changes there and to make sure that we're getting the best power at the best rate for our members.
so it's District 4, and Mr. Beck will go first. We want to enhance partnerships with other co-ops, Marquette Adams, for example, from community to community. Please explain what such partnerships would bring to our memberships.
Well, that's a good question. If you go through history, Adams Columbia is a child of two mergers of other co-ops. Marquette Adams is a telco, a telephone cooperative, and there's been a big push that we need to help our members with broadband. But we didn't feel that we should do it, or that it was not cost effective, but that we had a sister co-op, a good partner who could do it for us. We engaged with them, and it has worked out very well with us. We do a number of things with other electric cooperatives, and then we have a supply cooperative. Our financing is done by a cooperative. It is the backbone of our organization to work cooperatively. I know in the future that we will continue to look for partnerships with other like organizations to do technology improvements, to do accounting work, to do a number of things. It's in our blood.
Mr. Church.
In my 40-some years of working in the industry, one of the things that I used to try to do was to create partnerships. Not having sat on the board, I don't know all the ins and outs of what other co-ops can offer. But I do know that any time that you can have joint partnerships where there's good synergy, you're able to help offer more and reduce your costs in the long run.
Mr. Hebert.
Well, like Mr. Church here, I'm not really familiar with the partnership we have with Marquette Adams, but I do think it's a good idea to have partnerships with other co-ops. I remember the partnerships, and we still have them, with the ROPE program, Restoration of Power in Emergency, and those are definitely beneficial to one another. Another partnership, and I don't know where we're at on this right now, but we used to have a Badger group, and we had a partnership with them to contract power with Alliant. I don't know where that stands right now, but yes, I mean, I think usually it's co-ops helping one another. I think it's a good idea.
Thank you. Okay. So that does conclude both our audience participation as well as the prepared questions. At this point in time, we're going to allow each candidate a 2-minute closing comment portion of it. And what we'll do is we'll follow kind of the same format as you see in your packet. So it'll be District 2 to start. And with that, Mr. Adam Jones. Jerry's sort of in 2 minutes. We'll give a, same as last night, 1 minute warning and a final.
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank everybody for coming and listening to us and supporting the co-op. I'd like to let everybody know that over the last 16 years, I owned a construction company, and now I've been farming the last 4 full-time. I've learned, I've met a lot of people, I've dealt with a lot of suppliers, I've dealt with a lot of customers and employees. I know how to handle business, I know how to, budget things and know what's gonna be most economical for a business. I'm also very open-minded on new things and aren't afraid to make changes that might not be in the best, some people may not like it, but you just have to go with it and know that it's right for the company. And I'd like to make sure that we keep in mind that, we do need to be mindful of our power usage and where it's coming from and how we're paying for it. So I guess I would like to consider voting for me and be happy to work for it.
Mr. Olson.
As Adam said, I'd like to thank everyone for coming out tonight, as well as everyone up here running. I look at one of the key jobs as a director is focusing on its members, but also the employees that they represent at the co-op. everybody keep things rolling smoothly. As the member side, if we can focus on keeping things affordable, keeping things reliable, and safe, everything will flow smoothly. Is that the process and how it all happens? No, there's always going to be a few waves, but if we can all have those goals in mind and move forward, I think that's the responsibility of a director. So I appreciate your consideration, and if you guys have any questions, we'll be around later. Thank you.
Thanks. Mr. Conley?
As you will notice in my printed material, my bio, I've been involved in community fairs all my adult life, even before that, starting with 4-H, like as Adam had. Communities are people, and cooperatives are an extension of those communities. We go across township lines, county lines. We serve parts of 12 counties, Adams County does. A very diverse population. We serve a lot of 14-some thousand seasonal customers, members. They're just important as you or I who are here all the time. When you come home from work or step into your business or go into a farm building or punch that button on that irrigation system, that power comes on. That's what's important to you. That's why we're here. That's reliability. The other thing that we have to look at, and every day, everything we do at our board meetings, we talk about it. We have the safety message at all our meetings. We're aware that we want every employee to go home after work safely. So he can walk in his door and see his spouse and his children and enjoy a full life. And that is very, very important to me. So everything we do has those two things in mind: continuity of service and safety for our employees. Thanks.
Moving into District 3, Ms. Colby?
First of all, thank you for coming, taking the time out of your schedules to come and to listen and ask questions and become involved in your co-op. I hope you're also planning to attend the annual meeting on May 11th at the Adams Friendship Fine Arts Center. That's a Saturday. If you are unable to come, please go online through SmartHub and e-vote. You could vote for one person in each district. I hope for 3, you choose me, but that's your choice, not mine. But either that or get an absentee ballot and bring your neighbors. We need to get them involved too. I have enjoyed being a director, and I have put forth the effort and the time to get the experience to be a director and the education required. And I would like to see some of the things that we have started, and with our long-range planning, I'd like to see some of them come to fruition. And I feel that I am a good problem solver and a good listener, and I welcome any of your questions, and I would thank you in advance and hope that you will vote for me. Thank you.
Well, I'd like to thank you guys for coming tonight. I think the big part of a board member is to represent our membership. ACEC is a great company. It's great and important for our community. And it's nice to see all the employees that are so active in the community. Go out, whenever I'm at my children's activities, whether it's coaching, Little League, or whatever, I see members. I see not just members, but I also see employees of ACEC. They're doing what they need to do to be out in the community. It's great. One important thing too is to recruit younger members to be involved. That's really important. And it's great to see that so much interest is going into the board this year. And all my time in as part of a member, I've never seen so many people running for board. I think it's great. And the fact that it's younger people too, I think it's good. Showing that younger people can get involved and do something is great. And now there's some opportunity to get the youth and some new ideas on the board. So thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. And moving into District 4. Mr. Becker.
Well, I would reiterate, thank you for coming. The board had this discussion a few months ago. How do we get people to meet the candidates and to raise questions about the cooperative in a new format? What's new is old and what's old is new. We used to do this in districts, and now we're doing it a different way. Cooperatives are a huge part of me. If you look at my bio, I have been involved in cooperatives in every form and function, and I believe in them very strongly as a way of doing business. Adams Columbia is the largest cooperative in Wisconsin, electric cooperative in Wisconsin. We're the largest in our region, in Illinois and Iowa combined, for electric co-ops. We are a leader. We do a lot of things right, but we are still learning. We have extremely diversified membership, so we have to listen to a lot of people, and that's one of the things that came out here, is that a director needs to listen. A director needs to ask why, and a director needs to take action. Experience is good. I do have that experience. I wish to keep doing that for you. And a director needs to be an advocate. We are bound by rules and regulations in different ways, and not all of you can go and present to these folks. One of the directors do, and I'm comfortable doing that for you, and I have in the past. I thank all of you for doing this. As Mark said, please vote whichever way you want to. We would love to get a greater percentage of our membership involved in this process, so thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Church.
As everyone else, I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. We all have busy schedules, families at home. The one thing that is quite evident is that the co-op is lucky to have a high number of qualified members wanting to become a board member. Any one of the candidates from District 4 would make a good board member. What has to be decided is which candidate has the background and credentials that meet your expectations. Being in sales all my life, I've learned to be a good listener and take the customer's needs and concerns seriously. I'd be a good listener for co-op members, taking their concerns and needs back to the board. Being a good listener is one of the main keys for success of any organization. My word has been my bond throughout my career. Having sold and managed the development of technical products and services for 40 years, I needed an open mind to what customers' needs were and to what our engineers could do to design reliable and cost-effective products. I have an open mind to new technology and its implementation, and look forward to working with the Adams Columbia staff and the board on new ideas to provide reliable and cost-effective delivery of electrical service. We also need to take into account the environment around us, protecting the future for generations to come. But future services cannot be at the expense of the environment. At the end of the day, without strong financial strength, everything else becomes a moot point. I have 30-plus years of budget control and implementation and would work to keep our financial strength strong. Being a board member for the Electrical Rating System Association broadened my thinking about not only serving, but meeting the needs of the many. I, of course, would appreciate your vote, but do vote. Thank you.
I also would like to thank the cooperative staff and our members for the time and money they spent on this opportunity to put a face to a name. And I like to hear others' opinions. I retired almost 9 years ago, and at the time I just wanted to get out of the public eye, I guess, so to speak. I still got phone calls and from members and electricians and that sort of thing, and I kind of shunned them off and said, we just got to call the co-op. You know, in general, people can complain a lot, you know, whether it be the co-op, not the co-op board, so to speak, but the co-op itself. You know, they complain about the school board, they complain about the town board, the county board, the state, the federal, everything. But most of the time, nobody wants to get involved. And in the last few months, I thought, well, maybe I still can make a difference by getting involved and doing something to help our community and our membership. I don't feel a board position should be a long life profession. I'm not in it for personal gain, greed, ego, prestige, power, whatever you want to call it. I'm in it to represent you, the member of Adams Columbia Electric Co-op. You're the owner. So I would appreciate your support, and if you feel you could vote for me, I would greatly appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. So that does conclude that's our candidate forums. If we can give all our candidates a round of applause. Back to John.
Yes, and thank you again all for coming and participating, and thank the candidates for coming and going through the forum, and hopefully you had your questions answered and got to ask. As I mentioned, we have time now. We won't be starting the advisory committee meeting for at least till about quarter after. So, hopefully the candidates will stick around and mingle with them, and feel free, but please try to be ready by about 6:15. Try to get in your seats, and we will start handing out meals for the advisory committee and move on there. So thank you all again, and thanks for the staff, Mindy and all the staff for putting this together. It was an idea that the board came up with, and I think it worked very well. So thank you all.